The Hab Dome hummed its eternal rhythm against the silence of the dead world. Marcus Chun had chosen this place precisely because nothing lived here, no atmosphere worth breathing, no water, no soil that could sustain even bacterial life. Just rust-colored rock stretching to every horizon beneath a black sky. He had been alone for 7 years. The mining operation had ended 3 years into his contract when the company went bankrupt. The rescue ships never came. Marcus had enough supplies, enough fusion power, enough recycled everything to last a lifetime. He grew vegetables in the hydroponic bay, printed protein from base compounds, and read every book in the station's database twice over. The knock came on a Tuesday, though days meant nothing anymore. Marcus froze mid-step, a fork of synthesized chicken halfway to his mouth. The sound came again, 3 measured taps against the outer airlock door. Impossible. The proximity sensors would have alerted him to any approaching vessel. Nothing could survive outside without a suit. Nothing. He moved to the control panel, hands shaking as he pulled up the external camera feed. 3 figures stood in the howling vacuum, unprotected. They were tall, easily 7 feet, with skin that seemed to shift between deep purple and midnight blue. No suits, no helmets, no visible breathing apparatus. One raised a 3-fingered hand and knocked again. Marcus cycled through every rational explanation. Hallucination from isolation. Malfunction in the camera system. Some kind of projection. But the sensors registered their mass, their heat signatures, the displacement of dust around their feet. The tallest one pointed at the camera, then made a gesture toward the airlock. Against every survival instinct, Marcus initialized the outer airlock cycle. If they could stand in vacuum, they could tear through his Hab Dome like tissue paper if they wanted. Better to meet them on something resembling diplomatic terms. The inner door hissed open. They entered with fluid grace, their movements suggesting bone structure fundamentally different from human. The leader had patterns of bioluminescent markings running along her arms. He assumed it was female from the curve of the form, though that meant nothing with alien biology. Marcus Webb, the leader said in perfect English, though her mouth barely moved. We have traveled far to find you. How do you know my name? His voice cracked from disuse. We know many things about you. The second alien stepped forward, shorter than the leader, with golden patterns instead of blue. We know you worked for Meridian Mining. We know you have been alone here for 7 solar cycles. We know you are one of only 3 humans with genetics compatible with Valen physiology. Marcus backed against the wall. Compatible for what? The third alien, who had remained silent, moved with a different energy, nervous, almost uncertain. She carried something wrapped in thermal cloth. The leader continued, 17 of your years ago, a Velen scout ship crashed in your Arctic region. The pilot survived for 3 months before your military discovered the wreckage. During that time, she took samples, genetic material, from 3 humans in a nearby research station. That's insane. You were there, the golden-patterned one interrupted. You were completing your doctorate in xenogeology at Arctic Station 7. The pilot collected your genetic material without permission or knowledge. It was an act of desperation, forbidden by our laws and yours. The quiet one unwrapped her bundle. 3 faces looked up at Marcus from inside Environmental Pod's children, or something close enough. They had human features mixed with Velen characteristics. One had his green eyes, but purple skin. Another had his jawline, but bioluminescent freckles. The third had his nose, but fingers that suggested they might split into 6 instead of 5. The pilot used the genetic material to create offspring, the leader said quietly. She was dying. She wanted something of her mission to survive. When our recovery team found the wreckage, they found her body and 3 gestating children. Marcus couldn't breathe. You're saying these are mine? Biologically, You contributed half their genetic code, yes. Why bring them here? He couldn't look away from the smallest one, who seemed to be sleeping. Why now? The Golden One's patterns dimmed. The pilot violated every protocol. The children are considered illegal hybrids by our government and yours. Neither world will claim them. They have been in foster care on our world, moved between homes that fear them, that see them as abominations. We are Velen Huntresses, the leader said, and Marcus heard the weight behind that title. We hunt that which is lost. We track that which is forgotten. These children needed a hunter to find what they have never had. A father, the quiet one spoke for the first time, her voice barely a whisper. Marcus stared at the pods. He thought of his choice to come to this lifeless rock, to embrace solitude, to escape the complexity of connection. He thought of 7 years eating alone, speaking to no one, existing in a tomb of his own making. I didn't choose this, he said. Neither did they, the leader replied. But choice is what comes next. The Golden One stepped forward, her patterns flickering with something that might have been compassion. We have resources. We can establish a proper habitat here, one that accommodates hybrid biology. We can provide supplies, education materials, medical monitoring. We cannot give them a place in our society or yours, but we can give them a world where they are not hunted, not feared, not illegal. Just alone, Marcus said bitterly. With you, the quiet one corrected. If you accept them. He looked at each child again. The universe had played some cosmic joke, sending him 3 impossible children on an impossible world. He had fled humanity to avoid exactly this kind of complication, this kind of responsibility. The smallest one opened her eyes, his eyes, green as Earth's vanished forests, and looked directly at him. I don't know how to be a father, he said. Neither did any father once, the leader said. But you know how to survive on a lifeless world. You know how to make something from nothing. You know isolation. They shouldn't have to know isolation. Perhaps you can teach each other about connection instead. The Huntresses stayed for 3 days, setting up expanded habitats, installing equipment Marcus didn't know existed, and teaching him the basics of hybrid child rearing. The children remained in their pods, stable but aware, watching him with eyes that held too much hope. On the 3rd night, the leader found Marcus in the observation dome, staring at the stars. Why did you really come here? She asked. To this dead place? I thought I was done with complicated things, he admitted. I thought isolation would be simpler. And was it? It was empty. She placed a 3-fingered hand on his shoulder, the touch surprisingly warm. The universe abhors emptiness. It fills voids with the strangest solutions. 3 hybrid children seems particularly strange. Yet here you are. She moved to leave, then paused. Their names are Ada, Ben, and Kara. The pilot chose them from human literature she had studied. She wanted them to have something of both worlds. After the Huntresses departed, Marcus stood before the pods for an hour before activating the wake cycle. The children emerged slowly, uncertain, looking at him with a mixture of fear and desperate longing. Hello, he said, the word feeling inadequate. I'm Marcus. I'm your father, apparently. Ada, the oldest at 4 years equivalent, tilted her head. Will you send us away? The question broke something in him. He knelt down to their level. No, this is your home now. Our home. Ben reached out with 6-fingered hands and touched Marcus's face, exploring the features he shared. Kara simply moved close and leaned against his leg, seeking warmth and safety. Marcus picked her up, then gathered the other 2, holding all 3 despite the awkward weight. They smelled strange, a mixture of human and something else, something alien. They felt fragile and strong all at once. I don't know what I'm doing, he told them honestly. Neither do we, Ada whispered. Then we'll figure it out together. That night, for the first time in 7 years, Marcus didn't eat alone. The children were cautious with the strange food, curious about everything, full of questions he couldn't answer. The Hab Dome, which had felt like a tomb, suddenly felt too small for all the life it contained. As he tucked them into their new sleeping quarters, specially designed pods that regulated their hybrid biology, Ada looked up at him with those impossible green eyes. "Why do we live on a dead world?" she asked. Marcus considered lying, making it seem like a choice rather than an accident. But children, even hybrid ones, deserve truth. "Because sometimes the universe knows better than we do where we need to be," he said. "I thought I came here to be alone, but maybe I came here to wait for you." She smiled, the bioluminescent patterns on her cheeks glowing soft blue. After they slept, Marcus stood in the observation dome again, looking at the lifeless landscape. Tomorrow he would teach them about the hydroponic bay. Next week they would explore the canyon system he had mapped. Next month they would watch the meteor showers together. A dead world, he thought, but no longer a lonely one. The universe had sent him 3 impossible children, and in doing so, had given him back something he didn't know he had lost, a reason to build instead of just survive, to teach instead of just exist, to love instead of just endure. He lived alone no more.